Okay, welcome back everyone to the series. We are playing another rapid game here with the black pieces, again going with the modern defense. And in this case, let's play a different one. Let's play the move pawn to c6. I forgot what this one is called, where you play this sort of modern setup and then you play pawn to c6 and d5, but it's quite popular at all levels, I would say. It's mainly aimed at the move pawn to f4, and then you play the move pawn to d5. After the move bishop to c4 though, yeah, this one is directly trying to stop us from playing d5 now. We could still play d5. I think there is a variation here where you can play d5 and then b5 and then b4 and then take on d5. I'm not sure how good it is though. It might not be that great. It definitely looks playable. Now, what's the other options? Other options maybe just to play d6 and then develop like this. Okay, I'm gonna play actively, so let's play the move pawn to d5. And our whole plan was revolved around playing d5 anyway, so let's just go for d5. I mean, I can also consider taking, maybe knight takes e6 and then recapture this pawn. But let's go for the most active looking move, which is the move pawn to b5 here. So the idea is that if the bishop goes back to b3, we play the move pawn to b4, attack the knight, and then we recapture the pawn on d5 here. And normally people don't play bishop c4 against this line. It's quite rare to see bishop c4. You'll normally get either the move pawn to f4, which is the Austrian attack, which, I mean, black setup works quite well against. And then there's also the move knight to f3. Again, black has some very easy play in those positions as well. But this one leads to a very interesting position. So we have to move pawn to b4. Okay, then the knight has to move. Perhaps to e2. Unless he wants to maneuver the knight into this c5 square, in which case he might want to put the pieces on these squares. Queen f3. Okay. I've never seen this one before. Actually, this reminds me of an opening variation which I was taught once with the white pieces. It might be the same opening. It's called like the monkey variation of this opening. I think Judith Polgar used to play it quite often. But yeah, I vaguely remember something to do with a queen coming to f3 and a bishop being on this diagonal. But in this particular case, so why can't I take the knight? If I take the knight, I assume white wants to take on c6, knight f6, and then we have to move pawn to c7. After move pawn to c7, I suppose we have to take, and then the queen will capture the rook. And this looks quite dangerous for me. Now, if I don't accept the sacrifice, I also think it's not going to be very good. So if I play the move knight to f6, we'll probably transpose back into that variation anyway after the move pawn takes c6. Okay, so let's take, I just want to see what he has in mind here if I take. Okay, so this one, so we'll play knight f6. So of course I think he has to play pawn to c7 in this position, unless there's some better move. Okay, pawn to c7, we have to take that, don't really have a choice. Queen takes. Okay, so we're temporarily down the exchange, but maybe we have some compensation in the form of active piece play. I don't really know. But the only way we're going to get some piece activity here, I think, is to first castle our king away to safety. So now we have some threats with bishop to b7 and also knight c6. We do maybe let the queen escape. Maybe not, actually, it's fine. Okay. Knight to e2. So why can't we play knight to c6? Yeah, I think we can play knight c6. Or is his idea to play the move bishop to f4? Is that the idea? So if the bishop gets to f4, then he's going to be attacking our knight. He develops with tempo as well. So maybe we have to capture this pawn, force the bishop there, and then play knight c6? Or do we go knight c6, knight f4? Knight c6, knight f4. We can throw in the move pawn takes on b2 in that case. And then we have queen check, queen back. It looks quite good for us. So I'll play the move knight to c6 here. If bishop goes to f4, I think we can take here, followed by check on a5. That looks quite dangerous. Pawn to d5. This is getting very complicated very quickly. Okay, so if I go bishop to b7, then he's going to take the rook with the queen. Then I'm going to recapture, then he's going to recapture here. And then he's going to get an extra piece. So that doesn't look good for me. There's also the move pawn, knight takes pawn on d5. So bishop takes, we give up the knight, then we take here, forking the pieces on this square. And then we recapture back, and then there's some threats maybe with queen a5 check. That actually looks quite promising. And then also maybe the queen is trapped afterwards. That actually doesn't look too bad to me. This is more off instinct, but yeah, going with the move knight to d5. We also have knight b6 if he doesn't do anything. But if he takes it, then the plan is we take on b2, bishop takes here. There's some queen a5 check at the end. My thinking here is that at some point we can perhaps trap the queen later on. Okay, so we take here first. So fork these two pieces. Now if he takes, we take here. And I don't think he can take the knight because that endgame is at least fine for us. So if he went for that endgame, it would be at least fine for us. Yeah, so after this one, I think we need to play the move queen check just to keep the king stuck in the center. This is very important. And at some point when we take the bishop and play bishop a6, I think the queen will be trapped in the corner. So this is very important, but it's already gone quite complicated. Okay, that one is probably a mistake because now he can't actually take the bishop anymore because of back rank mates on d1. And now the knight also can't move because there's always these checks on a6. So, okay, now I think black is winning this position. He probably made a mistake there somewhere, roundabout, when he allowed me to play this move. Queen to a5 check. Because here I can just play bishop a6. Yeah, just bishop a6. Picks up the queen. Just to give up the queen here. So queen takes rook, king takes rook. If he tries to take this piece, then we can win material back in several different ways. So we can check and so on. Okay, now that was a very, very interesting game. Let's have a look at this variation. I've never actually seen this before. It felt like we're walking into some opening trap there with the black side. So after the move pawn to d5, pawn to b5, here knight to e4 is the best move apparently. So what happens after queen to f3? Oh, so apparently this doesn't actually work. So it looked pretty scary, but apparently it's okay for black. After c7, queen takes, castles. Although it's still not, yeah, it's still very tricky. But definitely the queen needs to go back as soon as possible. But black is having some compensation here. After the move bishop to b7, queen h3. So it's giving queen a5 here. Very interesting variations, because if pawn takes here, we have the move bishop takes g2, queen takes g2, queen takes c3, but definitely looks way more favorable to play black in this position because black is the one who has the initiative. Now if we go back, after the move knight to e2 there, I think black is very comfortable because after the move knight c6, the queen is just stuck there. After d5, knight takes d5 is the best move. So this worked out well for us. Bishop takes, pawn takes b2. Even though we're temporarily a few pieces down, it doesn't really matter because we're going to win all the pieces back. Because we always have this threat on the queen at the end. Although we should have gone queen a5 first, apparently. So if this one, queen takes d5. Here, king takes g7. Okay, it wants to win the queen. So that's why it's not taking the bishop. It wants to go for the queen instead. But this one, yeah, this one allows check. So white definitely should have gone for this endgame. Where black is a little bit better because of the two bishops, but the material is even. Whereas in this one, yeah, this one is clearly lost. Okay, so that was a very interesting game. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. Thanks for watching. I will see you all on the next game.